Okay.
Toodles.
Hi, Sam. How
Hey,
are you?
good.
Good
So,
to see you.
I know, right? For like an hour now. So we're laughing because we're trying to do this cast for you guys in quarantine, and so has been in a bunker, stuff tucked away very safely, and the Wi-Fi wasn't working. So now I think we finally got a good connection here. So hopefully we'll be able to talk and hear everything. So you
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, let me just clarify. I'm not in a bunker because of Corona. I
Right.
my daughter's guest room in her house in Israel happens to also be the bomb shelter room. So they it's a lovely room, but
Yeah.
I don't have very good internet in there.
Right. So internet is not well. So anyway, hello everyone. My name is Sam, and this is lovely Arlette that we are sitting here with. And everybody keeps showing me up. Marcus came on last week and had pretzels and a nice Tai Chi background. And you come on here, you got your hair done, earrings in, and a little something on your lips. So the next person I do a cast with, I'm gonna have something in store for them. I'm showing off. I just got to
Oh, yeah. Well, I was so crazed about having to do this that I put on makeup and earrings for the first time since I got to Israel on
Oh,
March 1st. Okay, so
wow.
this is the best me I can do, and it's in your honor, Sam.
Oh, thank you. And it's lovely. It's lovely. Happy to have you. So, what's on your mind today? What are we going to talk about? Where are we coming across at?
Uh, well, um, I'm kind of frazzled by, just trying to get all the technical stuff started up. So I guess I need to sink my chi.
Yeah, Shane. Hey,
Need to
listen.
calm down,
Shout out
and
to Shane. Yeah,
breathe.
Shane was on the last episode, and Shane loves sinking the chi. Shane
Mhm.
says it a little differently, but we're going to just leave it as sink the chi on
Right.
here, right? But I
I know.
think that's fascinating that you just said that because it's like in the middle of what a lot of people will call a disaster or something like that. We're actually going ahead and pushing forward and making something happen. Instead of waiting for the rainbow to come, we're creating our own rainbow. So what you just said was actually phenomenal because we just spent the last hour trying to configure how to make this thing work. As you can
Hmm.
see, this is the first one that Marcus is not a part of, who's usually running everything in the background. So that says one, that there's growth, and then two, that we're growing in front of people. So we're not afraid for that to happen. So if you keep watching us, I promise you from a year from now, all of us are going to be able to run everything smoothly. In fact, right before we started, the name under Arlette actually said Marcus, so we had to change that. So Arlette now instead of Marcus. So maybe next time I'll take Marcus's name, put it under mine. That happened.
You make a great point, Sam. We're all of us learning as we go, and we're not afraid to keep trying and
Right.
see
Got it.
what
Got it. Keep
works.
going. So where are you at, please? Because well, I'm not going to say everyone knows, but we are in the United States, and our group Tai Chi with Veterans, we are based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. However, could you please tell everyone where you are again and where you're streaming at?
Sure. I am in part of Israel, just about a half hour outside of Jerusalem, and it's called Efrat. It's a it's a beautiful little community, a bunch of neighborhoods, each neighborhood on a different a big hill, kind of mountain-looking hill.
Yeah.
Um, and I came here uh, because my daughter had a new baby, and we got a
Oh,
new baby girl in
congratulations.
the family. Thank you. So
Yes,
that was
yes.
around March 1st, and by the time I was scheduled to come home on March 17th, the Corona was up and running everywhere, and the airports
Up
were
and
looking
running.
scary. Corona was up and running.
It's a brand new business.
Up and
Corona
running.
the business. It's up and running.
We were all running from it, and it was running after us. Oh God. Anyway, it was looking too scary to come home, and so I decided to, what they say, shelter in place.
Yeah.
Um, and it's given me a, you know, a, I I say this with the caution because there's nothing wonderful about what's going on with people, what people
Yeah,
are going through, but it's
absolutely.
given me an opportunity that I would not have had to spend, a month with my children and grandchildren.
Hmm.
At the most, when you're working, you can take off maybe a week, 2 weeks, and then you got to run
Yeah.
back to supporting your family and your obligations. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. I know for me too, it's a moment that you don't want to tread on too hard. But for those of us who are not affected by it personally, because we're all being affected by it, but like not personally having the virus, it is something that's being able to help us out right now. And I use that because, like you said, you got to tread lightly on it. For me personally, I have been off of my day job for about 3 weeks now. And every single day I have woken up to both of my children asking me to make them breakfast while my wife lays in the bed. Usually I have to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. My wife has to get up and run around and take care of the kids, get the baby something to eat, get the oldest one dressed for school. I leave work. I come back. I pick my son up, take him to work. I go back to work. I rush around and finish my job. Then I try to leave my lunch break so I can go pick up my son from work, bring him home, and then go back to work. And so it's a lot. And that's just the one job. I have the evening job as well where I do
Wow.
security. So even when I pick my son up and I bring him home, I didn't go back to work. Then I go home. I'll either go get them something from the market. I'll either make a run for my wife, or I'll either go home for about maybe an hour and spend a little bit of time with them. So between that, I got to change clothes, wash up, spend time with them, maybe get something to eat or make something to eat. And that's if I even have the whole hour. Sometimes I only have about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I rush out and go to the next job. So, it's not fun what's going on, but I am very thankful to have this time to actually spend with them and to be able to get caught up. And I think that goes for everybody, even if you don't have a quote unquote family, a significant other, or children to go home to. It's a time to reflect, to say, what are you actually staying in with? What are you, whether it's your own thoughts or anything of that matter, and how are you able to change some things in your life that you might want to see clearer once this whole thing is over? So you got to be able to have that benefit of what's going on. It's not fun, but I'm happy that you do have that extra time to spend family, so
Huh.
that's
And
good.
you're, gosh, it's a wonder that you even had time to breathe at all with that schedule you just described.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well,
pretty rough.
as you
Uh,
just said that, my youngest son just slid in the room on me, and now he wants me to play with them. So this is how it is when you're in quarantine right now. The little people who run up on you. So
Absolutely.
we'll record
Hi.
the podcast, Roman. Come here. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, he just woke up. Say hi to everybody, Roman. Say
Hi.
hi, Arlette.
Hi there. Did I meet you once? How old are you?
You three.
Are you 6?
That's not enough numbers, Roman. It's
You're not 6. You're 3?
three.
3.
Three. Yeah.
3.
You want to do
Wow.
some later?
Getting big. Do you have a
Right.
brother who's 6, maybe?
Yes, Josiah.
Yes, it's a
Sorry.
fire.
I met your brother, but you look a little like him to me.
Yeah, they look just alike. They look just alike. Do me a favor.
Wow.
Go tell mommy I said to keep the door shut, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead. Go tell mommy I said keep the door
Bye.
shut.
Nice
So
meeting you. We have a
I think that,
3-year-old here too.
oh, awesome. Well,
Got
it
a
made
3-year-old and a 6-year-old and a newborn.
the whole family tree is there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I'm sorry. Let me run him out the door real quick. Come here,
Sure.
Roman. Come here. Go just say. Arlette, I'm still here.
I met one of Sam's kids at a Tai Chi meeting once. He's a little student.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, where were we? It's awesome.
Well,
I
what
think
you
he
were
came in
saying
right on
about
time. Yeah, he came in right on time when we was talking about family, right?
exactly. But what we were saying about what this whole experience is giving
Yeah,
us giving us time to figure out what we actually want to
yeah,
do with our
to really,
time.
yeah, to really reflect on things because it's like I was trying to say where all of that work and things that I was doing and I was being busy, I was working for other people. I'm working in the daytime and I'm working at night and I'm working for other people. And then here we have this wonderful Tai Chi with veterans community that we're building. So that way we can be able to bring a passion and a joy in our life to the veterans who served our country. And so outside of everything else that I'm doing, we're doing this. And it's like, man, imagine if I wasn't given so much time to somebody else's business to build them up, how much more could I invest in my own? So it's like you don't complain about it, you just do something about it. And I think right now is a wonderful time to take advantage of what you have. And I think that people are probably stressed or freaking out because they weren't prepared for it. Where I like to think about, like I said before, I like to think about it like the ants. The ants, they work all summer long because they're thinking about winter, where some of us are just enjoying the fun of the summer, not realizing that the wintertime is coming soon. So you got to prepare for that. And then when the wintertime is here, like the time we're in now, COVID, and everybody got to stay inside and nobody can do anything, this is our wintertime. And this moment's going to pass, right? So when this moment passes, you got to figure out how you're going to get over it. Well, the summer's going to come. It's going to be nice again one day. So prepare yourself now for when that day comes so you'll be ready. Because some of us are just saying, hey, let me just kick back and go to sleep while I got this break. And then before you know it, we'll all be running around hustling again for other people. And then that can really cause a lot of depression. Most heart attacks happen between 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning on Monday mornings because people have that realization that they have to go back to work. A lot of people didn't prepare the day before. They were still out living. So it's like, imagine, we think this is bad. There's going to be a lot more people going to therapy once this is over because they have to go back to their lives. And for some of them, they might not be able to. I think it was last reported about 10 million people, almost 10 million people in the United States are on unemployment right now. That's a huge life change for a lot of people that never thought they would be in that position. So when
Hmm.
things do change, one, are you going to go back to that job that you were in? Two, if you go back to that job, are you going to keep the same pay scale that you were at? Or three, even worse, do you have to go to a job that you never thought you would be doing and wind up in a different tax bracket than what you wanted to be in before the virus took place? So I think like now is a good time for us to really harness in and focus on what's important and what we want to do after this. And like I said, of course, it's going to sound like we're being biased about it because we're Tai Chi instructors, but there are few things in life you can do across the board worldwide, other than praying to be able to help you cope with this type of time. So I think that it's a wonderful time that we're starting our broadcast in the midst of this. So maybe between everybody seeing all the different instructors that we have and all of our different personalities and our backgrounds, you see that common thread is Tai Chi and how beneficial it is for all walks of life for us to be able to make it through this time of trouble.
That's right. Everybody needs Tai Chi, right?
Yeah,
No, it's absolutely true. It's something. It's a tool that we can use to calm ourselves and get to a place where we can deal with these huge issues that you're talking about,
yeah,
and just to get yourself into a place where where you can breathe and think and feel okay about the moment that you're in. More than okay, but just be able to push everything out of your mind for those few minutes that you're doing this Tai Chi um, exercise, flow, experience, whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
It's just a blessed relief.
Mm,
Um, and as far as your point about how we going to use our time when this is all over, and how are we going to use our time now? Um, it just reminds me of a conversation that I had with my daughter because she was feeling bad about me having come here and gotten stuck here.
mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Aside from the fact that I always wanted to spend a lot of time here, but not in this particular way. Um, but she feels responsible for me. I'm what you might call an older adult, but not in my heart, not in my spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but she feels responsible. And what if something were to happen to me here? And I really wanted her to understand this, take it into her heart that this is the best possible use of my time that I could
Absolutely.
possibly imagine. I'm here with my family. I'm able to support them. I'm in a gorgeous place that I love. Yeah, we're scared, and we have dwindling supplies and people getting sick that we know about because we're keeping track of the same way in the States, how many
Yeah.
people this, how many people that, and it's darn scary. But with all that said, I cannot think of any better use of my time, and the way I'm spending my time, I'm really content with, um, and that is helping me. It's helping me cope.
Yeah, I think with your daughter saying that, imagine how you would feel, and then imagine how she would feel, if you weren't there with them during this time. And now, mom has the stress of worrying about her daughter, then she got to worry about the 6-year-old, then the 3-year-old, and then she's really wrecking her brain about the newborn and how the newborn is. And then your daughter might be wrecking her brain on how is mom right now. So
Exactly.
it's silver linings and everything, and we have to find it. So thankfully, you have that opportunity to be able to be with the family. And I personally got something out of it because maybe you'll have to, if you let us, we'll post it up on our page, because Arlette made this wonderful little video that she sent to the group where she was teaching her grandson some principles in Tai Chi, and it didn't look like they were doing Tai Chi at all. It just looked like they were playing a wonderful little game about holding this nice little ball of energy, and she had it and he had it, and he was running around playing. And I was like blown away by that, because you never know where you're going to pick something up at. And I think I texted in the group and I was like, yo, I'm going to adopt that, and I'm going to start doing that with my son. And it has honestly been helpful to turn Tai Chi into more of a game than anything for them. So they're still getting something out of it. So I think that, in this time of you being there with them, that you was able to even produce something that will help my family out. And hopefully that little piece of energy will be able to take my sons for the rest of their lives, So it's been helpful for me. So
That's so
please
sweet.
keep putting out videos.
Oh, we're planning one. Thank you. I'd love to have that put up on the page. Yeah, share it. Do what you want with it. It was very spontaneous, and it started with the 6-year-old here has been like most people's children during this period, just banging off the walls with
Yeah,
energy that
yeah,
has no place to go because he's not in school and he's not out at the playground, and he's a very energetic kid, and they literally have to run him around before nighttime somehow to make sure that he's okay to go to sleep.
yeah, yeah,
um, and also these kids have feelings. They hear things, but they hear the adults talking. They know something big is happening. They're not in school, you know. They know, and yet they don't, maybe have a chance to talk about these things. And I thought of what came to mind was this move that we have in the Tai Chi Fit program, called punching with angry eyes. Um,
mm,
so I thought, yes, I'm going to teach him this one. And that's kind of where it started.
yeah, yeah.
And by the time it came out in a video, we were like punching Corona.
Oh, I know. Just hearing everything out. It was such a wonderful video. We got to post it. Marcus, pretty sure you're watching, listening somehow. So we're going to need your help with putting that video up to the page so everybody can see what we're talking about. So we'll have to put something along the lines of this cheat cast, so everybody know that that video is the one that went along with this, so we can see how wonderful it was. And then
Oh,
the
thank
next one
you.
too, if
Just a
you got
caveat, it wasn't the flow show. It wasn't necessarily Tai Chi. It was something that I learned from Marcus, that a lot of people who do this kind of practice do it.
you know what, we need to have a segment of what do we learn from Marcus.
We
Marcus,
do.
so I like to put Marcus on the spot. I don't know if he likes it or not. I'm not sure if I care if he likes it or not, but we're going to have a segment that's going to be called "What Did I Learn from Marcus?" Because I know Jason introduced me to Tai Chi, and I spoke about Jason last time, and I'm gonna speak about him some more until me and him actually be able to connect, and I can really share the story. But I met Marcus through Jason. I know Jason got things from Marcus. Marcus, before he even really knew me, we maybe knew each other for 30, 60 days, not even 60. Before I had the opportunity to ever teach a class at the YMCA in Philadelphia, I learned an 8-piece Qigong set from Marcus off of his personal YouTube channel that I used to open up my class. And now I teach at a drug and alcohol program, and they love the class that we do. They don't understand it. They don't know what's going on, and none of them really want to do it. And then once we get started, they always talk about how much it helps them. And doing the Qigong, they see how much strength and energy is involved with that, with these very, very slow, cautious movements. And I'm just thankful because that wound up just all coming together right before I had to start doing demonstrations. I got that from Marcus. So now I'm interested to see what did anybody else get from Marcus. So that's going to be a segment of the show. We're going to put one together. What do we
Yep.
get from Marcus? We're going to learn that.
Yes, let's do that.
Marcus helps everybody out. So I want to ask you a question. We talked before, and you were saying how you were, like you said, a little bit older than some of us, and so your children didn't believe, or you were saying they didn't think that you was actually a Tai Chi instructor, and then they seen you one day. How was that experience?
Actually, it didn't. I don't think it fazed them. This is just mom doing her thing again, which I've done kind of all along. Um, I if I want to go uh, perform at some festival in a harem outfit, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I did that a long time ago. Yeah, um, I went back to uh, I went back to grad school for a second master's degree when I was about 55. Um,
What was
and
the
yeah,
degree?
pardon?
What
Oh,
was the degree?
that degree is what I do now. It's occupational therapy.
Okay.
I'm a home therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, home therapists are really in a tough position right now. They're on the front lines, and I'm embarrassed to say that I'm kind of glad that I'm not having to choose whether to, you know, expose myself. And there's a lot of ethical questions that I have to ask myself, not only, my own safety, but if I'm going house to house and bringing it to other people,
Yeah.
of course you have to use, personal protective equipment and maintain, all the precautions that you learn about in school, but still
So,
it seems crazy uh, to me, for me. Uh, the people that are doing it, God save them. They're heroes. Honestly, all of the medical professionals. Uh, and I'm not a full-time worker. I'm an independent contractor, so I don't have to make that choice.
right.
Um, but it's a hard choice, and lots of people, supermarket clerks, everyone is having to make these decisions right now. Um, but back to your question, my kids don't. I don't think they're surprised by it, and until we were talking about this before when we were planning this Gcast, and I don't think I thought about it because there are the people that we're teaching. the Tai Chi too are often uh, they're often Malaysian. The Vietnam vets, baby
Mhm.
boomers. It's my
Yeah,
it's my people, you know. So
yeah, yeah. Right
uh,
at,
and when I look at who when I go to Marcus's classes, when I go to the online classes from the other instructors, and you look at all the little windows of who's attending the class,
mhm.
you know, some young and some my age and some older than me, and I feel like I fit in. So it didn't occur to me that this is anything that isn't normal for me to be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a benefit because like if you take somebody that's on the younger end like I am, right? And we're saying we're doing martial arts, the first thing that comes to mind is not something that's gracious and peaceful. The first thing that you're thinking about is kicking and punching, doing something fast, rolling on the ground. It's like, listen, slow down, relax a little bit, and do these very, 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 very slow, thoughtful movements. Thoughtful movements that allows you to empty your mind, right? That doesn't even sound right. And it's like, in order to actually capture what it is, there's a certain way you have to go about doing it. And you have to be able to release the things that are in your mind, which you already thought about it. Like you have to be able to empty your mind in order to receive the new information and what's there. So I think like for people like you have a benefit. And I asked that question because I know some people were concerned or nervous about doing it because they were older or either they've never done it before and so now they're older. When it's actually a wonderful time. It's always good to start any age, but at a time when you're concerned about it or will it be beneficial for you or be harmful to you, I think it's a good time because that means you probably have some joints you need to work out, probably have some medical issues, and thankfully, there's enough science behind what we already knew to prove how beneficial Tai Chi is to your body, inside and out, how it can help your major organs, how it can help the respiratory system, which is being heavily attacked right now due to coronavirus, and your joints and different things like that. So I think when you have an older community who's doing it, and then we have older instructors in the group, I think it's phenomenal because it shows a wide range of what we have, what we can do. And like you said, you're right at home. And so you can come in with a mindset of, I need to do this slowly, I need to relax. And so you already are farther along in your mind than someone my age would be, where we're still trying to move fast and still trying to go about it the way we would do something else. So we're at a part where we got to slow down and think and retrain our brains. You're already ahead of the curve a little bit. And then to realize that you can actually generate something as powerful and beautiful in it is fascinating. I remember the first time I actually felt energy. It was mind blowing. You know, we sit here and we say, you know, we hold this big ball of energy and we collapse it and we inhale and we exhale and we collapse it. And I remember going through the form. I was doing a repost monkey, and I remember I went up to bring my hand in, and then as I pushed, I could actually feel energy. And I felt whether it was me pushing away from it or whether the energy was in front of me and I actually had a force that I was pushing. And it was just fascinating because you go through the motion and you go through the moves so much, so often, and you're learning it. And then it gets to a point where it's just in you. And then I remember, like, holy crap, I'm actually feeling energy from what I'm doing. So it was a fascinating time for me to be able to actually realize that. And see how that works. So it's just something that I wish for everybody to be able to experience, to be able to feel something that you can't see, and know that you worked and you developed for that. It's just truly fascinating for me.
It is. It's a very, very interesting feeling. Before I met Marcus, and years ago, I had taken different Tai Chi classes, and I used to go to a chiropractor that was a holistic chiropractor, and she did some Qigong with her patients, and she made little groups from time to time, and retreats and things. And she's still at it very much so. But one of the things that they had us do was like rub your hands together, and
Mhm.
then see if you can still feel that energy between
Yeah,
your hands and play with
yeah,
it. And you'd get to a point where you could feel
yeah,
it. You could put your hand up against somebody else and kind of feel it.
yeah,
um, and I at some point in my life, I had a daughter who was ill, and we did energy therapy on her. We the, uh, we took her to somebody that specialized in it, and when somebody's sick, you'll try anything, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
but I would like come into her bedroom at night, and I'd be like trying to clear out her energy. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Whatever
So
will work, you got to try it and do it. Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Makes me think about the last World Tai Chi Day that we had, where we were doing exercises like that, where we were showing the people, rubbing your hands together and then putting them on different parts of the body that might be bothering you, so to help out. Put them up here, rubbing it, and doing all these different things to be able to help out, to use that energy, and like it actually works. It's like we have everything here that we need. God gave us knowledge to be able to create things, and we have modern medicine, and I think a lot of things are made with good intention, and then sometimes it may go somewhere different. Greed and things like that get involved, but I do know that there are some good things and stuff with modern medicine, right? But then I also know that we have everything here that we need. And we used to use those things, and we kind of gotten away from it. And it goes with everything, technology, the whole nine. So it's like, even with this whole, period that we're in, it's allowing us to strip down the things that we were used to and go back to what works. And I'm starting to see a whole lot more people eat healthier, eat more plant-based foods, and just do the things that they should. Like, it fascinated me. Everybody is like raiding the supermarkets, but what was mind-blowing and fascinating to me was that the snack sections were still full, the soda sections were still full, and it just made me feel so good, because I'm a wellness coach, right? And so when I go in there and I look into the market, and everything's being cleared out, but all the Doritos are still there, all of the soda's still there, all of the cookies and snacks, and people are grabbing like they've always been, but it's not wiped out the way they're doing the actual food products and items. So that was just fascinating for me to be able to see that.
yeah,
um
what the
yeah,
what people think is essential, uh,
yeah,
it
yeah,
gets it gets real clear right away.
yeah,
And in line with the speaking about you know resources dwindling, it it's making the effect it's having on me is I'm getting very, very creative with what I've got.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if I
yeah,
don't have, and in I mean in a at a usual time coming to Israel, I don't use water as freely as I do in the United States, because you have more of an awareness here that this is a resource, and it's not endless. you know,
yeah, yeah,
they're making water out of air here. There's technology to do it, but there's not always hot water. You have to push a button to heat the water if you want hot water.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
there's now that the stores are closed and you may or may not get what you ordered in a delivery, maybe I can't just pull off a row of silver foil and just, like that. Maybe the lid from the last pasta bowl is going to be my plate for this piece of cheese that I'm now going to
right,
eat.
right,
Um,
right.
but I'm
Appreciation.
making things like crazy. I made yarn out of a trash bag to teach my grandson how to sew.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I taught my grandson how to sew. Yes, I did. But
It's a skill that you need to have, Shoot,
absolutely, his button could fall off his shirt. He's going to need
yeah,
it.
exactly. If ain't nobody gonna be around to help him, he's gonna have to do it himself. Shoot,
He
some of
was
the
so
best
proud,
scripture for
so
men.
proud. So he
That's awesome.
laced up a toilet paper roll, and it was just great.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you real quick. So, as we move forward and people get to know us as the Tai Chi veterans on the East Coast, Philadelphia region, Delaware, New Jersey, and all of that good stuff. What introduced you to Tai Chi, and what made you decide to pick it up?
Gee, let me think. Well, that chiropractor that I spoke about years and years ago, it's got to be, I don't know, 25 years or so, 30 years maybe ago, uh, she she had this interest in Eastern medicine and Tai Chi, Qigong, um, and then and I loved it from the start. Uh, and the interesting, really nice thing about Tai Chi is, and and specifically about the Tai Chi Fit flow that we're teaching the veterans, is you don't
Mhm.
have to learn anything new. You don't have to remember it. I mean, we as instructors have to remember it, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
when you're in the class, it's a matter of just copy us. You don't have to remember any of these moves. Just do it the best you can. We don't care how you do it. And when you do it, and you do it in, you know, whether you're doing it on a video or a live class, you come into this state of relaxation and feeling good and feeling like you moved your body. You weren't at home eating chips in front of the TV or whatever, that
Right.
you know, you did something good for yourself. And in that moment, not because not because you were trying to push all your worries out of your head, but because you were just very, very focused on following this guy, your girl, woman up front, and just trying to do those movements. And you're so busy with your breathing, and you're waving your arms around, and you're bending your knees, and you know, here and there. You just don't have time
No,
or
ain't no
wherewithal, or
telling
even a feeling of wanting to think about all that other stuff. And it feels good. And there's the pay. It feels good. So I was attracted to it from the get-go because it just felt nice. And then I would see there's a free class at the high school. There's another class other side of the city. Okay, I dabbled for years and years. Then I met Marcus.
Yep. Ding ding ding. There's Marcus again.
Yeah, and I had done enough dabbling to know a good teacher when I saw one. I was
Uh,
like, uh-huh,
uh,
yeah. So thanks, Marcus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Marcus again.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Marcus.
we're getting good. Mini Marcuses are being made daily.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, your name was Marcus on the call before we changed it to
Yeah.
but many Marcuses is being made everywhere. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool, man, to be able
Mm,
to see a good instructor like that. One of the things that's fascinating to me, DDR, David Dorian Ross, and Marcus, who made it easy for you, right? When you're as an
absolutely.
instructor, when you're in front of the room, to tell somebody. And I was like, I knew that it would be fascinating because they'll say, you know, listen, I just want you to follow along. If I go this way and you go that way, I want you to remember 3 little words. I
We
don't
don't
care.
care.
And I said, okay, cool. I'll say it. That sounds good. I don't care. You do this way, you do that way, as long as we moving, as long as we're getting the body phone, as long as you're staying focused and you're in the flow. Well, shout out to Joe, who's one of our awesome instructors. And Joe lets us use his actual facility to be able to do our teachers training. And I remember when we got there for the first time, and Marcus was in front of the room, and it was just us instructors in there, and that in itself is like could drive you crazy, because if you're the instructor and you're teaching, that's fine, but then when you're in a room of a bunch of different instructors, now you're like, oh man, I hope that I have been on my job enough to keep up with everybody else. And then you realize everybody's the same, everybody normal. And then I actually got the effect of how powerful it is, because Marcus stood up in front of the room like a professional and did the same exact thing to us that we have been learning in our teachers courses, right, to be able to do for the people with David Dorian Ross. And he said, all right, listen, guys, same as always, if I go this way and you go that way, I want you to remember 3 little words. I don't care. And then immediately this like little ball of stress just went down. And I was like, man, that was so fascinating that he said that. And it wasn't like he was just saying it to say it. I could feel that he actually meant it. And in that moment, I knew that it was okay if I was not perfect. we all try to be perfect a whole lot, right? But what is perfect? And I think we just have to try to do the best that we can. But more importantly, if we're honest about where we are and who we are, people can help and people will accept us. If we try to falsely put on something, then not only are the people going to be able to tell, but you can tell them. Just as much trust to yourself. So when he said that, I don't care, I immediately was like, yo, I'm so ready to do this. And I felt so relaxed. And it was a wonderful class. I got to meet some wonderful instructors for the first time. And it was just off the hook. So I think those 3 words are very, very critical. So,
Yeah.
you know, David, Dorian Ross, thank you so much for those key words to be able to help
Oh,
out
yes.
with the instructor.
Oh, yes.
And thank you, Marcus,
That's,
for being able to show us that it actually works in real life and that, you know, we can actually use it and implement it. So I think it's fascinating, you know, to
I
have
want to
that.
add my thanks too, because I'm playing the flow shows every day, trying to learn the program, and I've got DDR David Dorian Ross like in front of me every day, going,
Yeah, yeah,
open the heart, open the
yes.
breath, open and
In
empty the mind,
the mind.
you know,
My
and it's
favorite part,
wonderful. It's
my
wonderful.
favorite part is he says, are we live? I think it's live. Are we recording? That little red light either means we're live or he says the other part. So crack up. I love that video. Thank you so much, David, for that video. It's awesome. I think for me, what got me, well, it's crazy. What got me into doing Tai Chi is Jason
I
Ferguson.
wanted to ask you because
Yeah, so
you've been asking all these questions to me, and I know nothing about you, Sam.
I'm
Like,
sorry. So as you
fill it
see,
out.
yeah, everybody. So we do have about, I think it's about 10 of us that are instructors, and most of us clearly connect and have relationships with Marcus. We all have relationships with each other, and we just enter in this world where hey, I'm a Tai Chi instructor and I love everybody. And now I'm a Tai Chi instructor and I love everybody too. So we all love each other. So as we come in, everybody's just coming in naturally loving each other. And it's fascinating because we don't know everything about each other, but we are all here for this common cause and we're all family here to help. So even as we're doing these Chi classes, we're still learning about each other. So I think that's fascinating. So I was asking you a lot of questions because I did want to know, and I was like, I can't wait till we do this so I can learn about you. So I guess I'll tell you, you know, about myself, my story.
Please.
We're in 2020, and I was introduced to Tai Chi in 2011, 2012. I believe it was 2011. And I was doing security for a community college in Philadelphia. I was working for a company called Arlette Barton. At the time, now it's called Arlette Universal. And I remember I was doing Tai Chi. I'm sorry, not doing Tai Chi. I was doing Wing Chun. I started doing Wing Chun in 2011 as well. And that's in Chinatown, 10th and Arch. And I do Moya Wing Tussin Martial Intelligence, which is our lineage of Wing Chun. So just to break that down, we may know a famous movie called Ip Man, or a famous individual named Ip Man. And Ip Man had a class, and Ip Man taught somebody named Moyat. Moyat was classmates with somebody named Bruce Lee. So Ip Man taught Moyat Wing Chun martial intelligence. Moyat brought Wing Tussin to the United States, and Moyat taught my instructor, Pete. And here I am learning Wing Chun from this incredible person. And so I was really dived in to learning Wing Chun. And I remember Jason was working at my job, and Jason Ferguson would walk past my desk every day, and he wasn't really saying nothing to me. I did think he was a bad person, but he wasn't talking. And he would come in and he would swipe and he would keep it moving. He would swipe and he would keep it moving, swipe and keep it moving. And then one day I had a little book on my desk, and it was a book that Ip Man's son wrote. And so I was reading the book and I happened to close it. So when I closed it, that's just when Jason walked in. And when he walked in, he looked down to swipe as always, and then he paused and he said, you do martial arts? And I was like, yeah, I do. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's never spoken to me before, and he's speaking to me now, so he must know martial arts. And he had these shades on, and he took them off and was like, I do martial arts, I do Tai Chi. And from that moment, we just built this incredible relationship. Like, I kid you not, it wasn't no more than 2 weeks later. I was doing security while the building was closed. Jason started coming up to the job while the building was closed to start doing Tai Chi with me. And I would
Wow.
show him some stuff with Wing Chun. He would show me some stuff with Tai Chi. I found out years later that that moment actually helped him throughout his life. I had no idea. Now, this whole time, he was teaching me different things about Tai Chi. I had no idea how helpful it was. At that time, he was going through something very, very deep in his life. And on top of the other part that he was going through, he had a very, very severe health condition that he was dealing with. And he was going back and forth to the VA hospitals and trying to live and trying to take this issue that he was dealing with his health. I had no idea that was going on. So now, all these years later, it clicked. The reason why you kept walking past my desk the way you did is because your literal life was in jeopardy. And every day you were still showing up to work, but you had this huge weight on your shoulders as to how you were actually going to make it to literally see another day. And he told me that when I met you and we started doing Tai Chi, he said you had no idea how much that actually helped me and how much it participated in saving my life. And
Wow.
how all of this time he's been teaching me small steps of doing Tai Chi, and I would show him things with Wing Chun, and how I thought that I had this guy who is once a Marine, always a Marine. He's a veteran and he knows Tai Chi, and he's been teaching and giving me all this information. When here, just by me being willing to receive it, I was adding so much into his life, and it really participated in his health changing. And now, he's here walking around free. He's having a wonderful life. So, maybe one day when me and him talk, we can go more into his side of the story. But that's how it had started for me. And then he told me, like, I want you to take this more serious because I want to start doing things with you. And so we wound up opening a company called Inner Oasis, where it's him, myself, and our wonderful partner named Charlene Williams. And we do meditation, Tai Chi, and yoga classes. And we just formed this
Wow.
nice little group where we go out and we serve. And that's how I teach to the drug and alcohol program that I teach with. And then Jason, get ready for this. One day we're at World Tai Chi Day, he introduces me to none other than Marcus. There go Marcus again. And he said, this is somebody that you really got to know, you really got to meet. He has great, great chi. And like I said last week, when I met Marcus, I don't know if the sun just happened to be shining only on him that day, but I do know that when he walked up at World Tai Chi Day, that it was actually shining and his skin was beaming and just everything was radiating off Marcus. So I don't know. And right now this might be hating. I don't know if he had that much chi going on or if the sun was just personally shining on him. I don't know. Marcus, you're going to tell me that trick. But I do know that this guy that he said I had to meet, man, he showed up very, very wonderfully, and you can tell in someone's spirit who they are and how they are. And so that's how I met Marcus. And all of these years that I have been building up a relationship with Jason, and he's been entering me in the world of Tai Chi, that he introduced me to Marcus in 2019, and he allowed me to be able to be part of history where there's a select group of instructors that are spearheading the opportunity to go in and psychologically and physically transform our nation's veterans to give them a better quality of life. And it's like, yo, I am so thankful every day that I had that opportunity to be part of history, to participate with that. And then from there, I wound up meeting you, and you gave me this little nugget that was sent to a video in a group that you didn't even know how critical it was, that I now use to help my sons out and further their Tai Chi knowledge at 3 and 6 years old. So everything's connected as long as you're doing the right things, it's all going to work out.
Sorry. It's it's amazing. And it's, just reminds me that you never, when you meet somebody, you never know. You never know what state that person is in, what that person is feeling, what they've gone through, and what you could mean to them in that little moment by just being kind
Yeah.
or being open or giving of yourself in whatever way you know how to give, and
Mhm.
coming we all come to this with all these different instructors. We come from different backgrounds and um, different Tai Chi styles. I mean, this style that you learned from your teacher who goes back to Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Tell me the name of it again. Wu
So
Wu.
it's Moyat Ving Tussin Martial Intelligence. So it's kind of crazy because so Ip Man taught Moyat Wing Chun, and in that time it was not to be respectful to name your school after Ip Man, because you had a lot of people. He's the world-renowned person to teach Wing Chun, and if you were to go to somebody in the old days and say, I learned my Wing Chun from Ip Man, people would sign up. People will work with you. People would, let's say, hey, here's everything that I have. Teach me what you know. If you learn from Ip Man, I need it. I want it. The problem with that was people weren't completing the entire system. So here you had people not completing the entire system of Wing Chun. And in the process of that, they were going out teaching. And so they weren't teaching correctly. So out of respect, Moyat did not want to name his school after Ip Man, so he put it in his own name so that way he could gain his own respect, to show respect to his people, that I was able to do this by the teachings that you gave me and not build it off of the reputation for your name. But generations change, and so does the mindset. So now when my Sifu came along, it was respectful for my Sifu to carry my Sigung's name, and my Sigung is just my teacher's teacher, so it would be my grandfather, my Sifu's my father. So it would be respectful to then honor him and have it in his name. So that's why our school is called Moya Ving Tussin Martial Intelligence, aka Chum. So that's how that one worked.
Yeah. So it's I had never heard of that type of practice before speaking to you today, and each of the instructors, and that's because I only know what I know.
Right.
um, each of these instructors that are in our affiliate group and this whole nationwide program that DDR has built, they're coming from all different backgrounds, and they do different types of Tai Chi practice. Jessica, who's part of our group, hi Jessica, does Tai Chi Cha. I hope
Yes, I
I'm
was just
saying that
thinking about
right.
Jessica.
She's an
Yeah.
instructor, and she's been an instructor for years, and and it's and it's beautiful, and it's a whole area that lots of us know nothing about.
No.
And we each come with our own set of knowledge and our own set of skills, and you said you're a health coach. um, I'm an occupational therapist. We come with all different skill sets to this, and together we're learning this Tai Chi Fit flow system, and we bring to it what we know, our experience and who we are, um, and we get to kind of make it our own through that. And
Mhm.
yet it's but this thread of the same moves in the same way with the same attitude. It's just it's interesting, and it's nice. You get to bring your own everything that you are to it, and you get to
Exactly.
experience it.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. I love it. I love it so much. That's the wonderful world of our Tai Chi group, Tai Chi with veterans. So, Arlette, I think we're wrapped up at the end of our call. We're going to definitely do it again soon, so we can definitely message each other while you're still out there, and see if we can set up another phone call to be able to do, or a Zoom, so we can record our Chi cast. Real quick, though, before we hang up, do you have any particular platforms or any way that people can get in contact with you? I know you have a Facebook, so you want to leave say your information now so people will be able to find you?
Oh gee, I'm not that famous yet.
You are.
I have a Gmail address. uh, let's see. I'm thinking about putting myself out there as Oma Corona, which is that's not a thing yet. Oma means is what my family call their grandmother. I called my grandmother Omama, and my kids call me Oma. My grandchildren. But no, that was just a joke. um, I almost put up that video that you're talking about as Oma Corona and Natanel do Tai Chi.
Right, right.
Except it's a scary name, and it wasn't Tai Chi, it was Jikung.
Yeah,
Jikung.
yeah, about that.
When I get something, some kind of a useful tagline and a website for myself, I'll make sure to let everybody know.
Okay,
In the
awesome. Awesome.
meantime, you can look for my posts on Tai Chi with that Tai Chi for veterans on Facebook. Um, if I have anything incredible to post, that's where I'm going to put it.